You ever finish a book or watch a movie and you just get that feeling that there's a whole other layer of meaning you're not quite getting? Well, today we're going to pull back that curtain. We're going to go beyond the surface of any great work and really figure out what makes it tick. So let's dive in. We all know lines like this one, right? They're absolutely iconic. But let's be honest, they're often just the bumper sticker version of a much deeper, more complicated idea. We hear the quote and we think, oh yeah, I know that one. But knowing the slogan is not the same as understanding the story. And that's the big question, isn't it? So many of us are kind of on the outside looking in. But what if you had a key, a sort of framework to unlock all those hidden depths in any text, any idea, any argument? Well, guess what? That is exactly what we're going to cover today. To get past that surface level stuff, we need a totally new way of looking at things. So, for the next few minutes, I want you to start thinking of yourself as an intellectual detective. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to follow the clues and uncover the real story that's hiding in plain sight. Yeah, a good detective doesn't just show up and wing it, right? They've got a process, a set of tools they always rely on. So we're going to build that toolkit right now, a 4-part framework you can use to analyze pretty much any idea. And to show you how it works, we're going to use a very surprising example. Okay, tool number 1 is all about context. And why is that so important? Because no idea, no book, no piece of art is ever created in a vacuum. Nope. It's a response to the world it was born into. So to really get the work, you've got to first understand its world. So our case study today is a collection of hilarious golf stories by P.G. Wodehouse. I know, sounds pretty light, right? But look at when it came out. 1922. That's smack in the middle of the Roaring Twenties, perfectly sandwiched between the unbelievable trauma of World War I and the disaster of the Great Depression that was just around the corner. That timing, that's a massive clue for us. And this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the contrast here. The real world was dealing with these incredibly heavy issues, trauma, huge social change. And then Wodehouse comes along and gives his readers a total escape into this silly, sun-drenched world where literally the worst thing that can happen is you miss a putt. Understanding that context helps you see this wasn't just comedy. For a lot of people, it was a necessary relief. All right, so we've looked at the world around the text. Now it's time to pop the hood and look at the machinery inside it. Every single work, even a collection of funny stories, has a core argument, a central idea it's built on. Our job as detectives is to take it apart and see exactly how it works. And this is our method. It's actually pretty simple, but trust me, it's incredibly powerful. First, you find the premises, the basic beliefs the author is starting with. Then you follow the logic they build on top of those. And finally, that path leads you straight to the conclusion, the ultimate point they're trying to get across. So, let's apply this to our Wodehouse example. His premise? People, especially the English upper class, take their hobbies way, way too seriously. The logic? He puts his characters in these situations where their entire social lives seem to depend on a game of golf, and that just magnifies their vanity and obsessions to a hilarious degree. And the conclusion? Human silliness is universal, and sometimes the very best way to see it clearly is through the silliest possible lens. Okay. So once we get where an idea came from and how it's actually built, our next move is to see where it went. The importance of an idea isn't just in the moment it was created, it's in its legacy. The impact it has on the world long after it's out there. I mean, think about it. Great works don't just sit on a shelf collecting dust. They cause a reaction. They go on to inspire other artists. They spark debates. People criticize them, people defend them. Tracing all these little ripples is the third crucial part of our detective work. So what questions do we ask? Well, we trace its influence. You'd be surprised how many modern sitcoms owe a huge debt to Wodehouse's clever plotting. We listen for the critics, some of whom thought his work was just too silly for such serious times. And then we find its defenders, the ones who argued that creating a perfect, joyful world was actually a profound artistic achievement all on its own. So, we've looked at the past and the present of our idea. Now for the final, and maybe the most fun tool in our kit. This is where we get to be really creative, the stress test. And our method for this is the thought experiment. So what in the world is a thought experiment? Basically, it's how we test an idea's durability. We take its core argument, we pull it out of its original time and place, and we drop it into a brand new one, just to see if it still works. It's a fantastic way to figure out if an idea is truly timeless or if it was just a product of its time. So let's actually try it. If Wodehouse were writing his stories today, would these still work? I think so, absolutely. The core argument about human vanity and obsession is completely timeless. It's just the details that would change. Instead of a huge crisis over a missed putt, the drama might be all about losing your blue checkmark on social media. The framework still holds up. And there you have it. 4 essential tools for your intellectual detective kit. First, understand the context it came from. Second, deconstruct its core argument. Third, follow its legacy. And fourth, put it through a stress test. That's it, the complete toolkit for going deep on any idea you want. So now you've got the framework. The only question left is, what are you going to investigate first? Pick a book you love, a film, a song, anything, and just start digging. I promise you, you will be amazed at the hidden depths you uncover. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only.